Maybe you are here on a very hard day. A day you don't want to talk much. A day you don't want to explain anything. A day you don't even want to pretend. Maybe you are tired, but not the normal kind of tired. A tiredness that lives deep inside your chest, quiet, heavy, constant. No one can see it, but you feel it all the time. Maybe you have been trying for so long, trying to keep going, trying to stay normal, trying to smile when you don't feel like smiling, trying to say, "I'm fine," when you are not fine at all. And slowly, you stopped sharing. You stopped explaining. You stopped opening up. Not because you are okay, but because it never felt understood anyway. So you learned something else. You learned how to stay silent. But silence doesn't mean healing. Sometimes, silence is just how pain becomes familiar. Maybe your mind is always full of memories, full of questions, full of things you cannot change. And the more you think, the more stuck you feel, like there is no way out. Just loops, again and again. At night, you lie down, but you don't really rest. Your body is still, but your mind keeps moving. Old memories, old mistakes, unanswered questions. What if, over and over again? And maybe you feel lonely, not because there is no one around you, but because no one truly sees what is inside you. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to justify it. Because if you feel it, it is already real. I don't know exactly what you are going through, but I know this feeling. The feeling of trying to move forward while something inside you just wants to stop. If you are here today, I want you to know something very simple. You are not strange. You are not weak. And you are not alone. There are many people quietly going through the same days as you, smiling outside, breaking inside, but still trying to hold it together. And maybe you found this video for a reason, not by accident, but as a quiet meeting between you and someone who understands this darkness. I am not saying everything will be okay after this, but maybe, just maybe, you will feel a little lighter. Not because everything is solved, but because you are not carrying it alone anymore. And if you are ready, we will continue together. Maybe you have gotten used to not saying anything anymore. Not because you don't want to share, but because you have tried before, and you realized talking about it doesn't always make things lighter. Maybe you once tried to explain how you felt to someone, but the more you spoke, the smaller it felt in their eyes. As if what you were feeling was not serious enough, not painful enough, not enough to be understood. So you stopped. You stopped telling. You stopped explaining. You stopped hoping someone would understand. And you just kept everything inside. And slowly, you became very good at being okay. You learned how to smile at the right time. You learned how to answer the usual questions. You learned how to look normal, even when everything inside you was not normal at all. But there is something no one sees. When you are alone, you come back to your real self. And in that moment, everything feels heavier. much heavier. Maybe at night, you lie in bed, and your mind refuses to stop. You think about the past, unspoken words, old decisions, things you wish you had done differently, and slowly, you start asking yourself, was it my fault? That question usually has no clear answer, but somehow you keep asking it again and again, every day. And then a different kind of exhaustion begins. Not just physical tiredness, but the exhaustion of thinking about yourself, trying to understand everything, trying to stay strong, trying to keep going. There are days when simply waking up feels like effort. You open your eyes, and the heaviness is already there, as if you never rested at all. And the hardest part is not what is happening around you. It is having to live with it alone, in silence. No one sees it, no one hears it. Because on the outside, you are still functioning. You go to work, you reply to messages, you show up in people's lives. But inside, you are slowly running out of energy. Not loudly, not suddenly, just quietly, losing yourself day by day. And maybe the saddest part is not even the pain. It is the fact that you start getting used to it. Used to not being understood. Used to carrying it alone. Used to staying silent. But if you are listening right now, I just want you to pause for a moment and realize something very simple. What you feel is real. It is not small, it is not meaningless, and you do not need to deserve it to feel it. You don't need to explain it anymore. You only need to know this. You are not the only one going through days like this. And if you are ready, we will move into the real story. I don't remember exactly when things started to feel so heavy. I only remember that after I gave birth to my first son, my life entered a completely different chapter. Becoming a mother for the first time was nothing like I had ever imagined. Nothing could fully prepare me for it. No words could ever describe it completely. Just a body, not yet recovered. A mind, completely overwhelmed. And a tiny human who needed me every single hour of the day. I was in pain. I was exhausted. I was confused. I was breaking down slowly. But what pulled me down the most was not just the physical exhaustion. It was the fact that I had almost no one beside me. My husband worked away from home. He could only come back on weekends, and during the weekdays, it was just me and my newborn baby, alone through the nights, alone changing diapers, alone calming the crying, alone trying not to fall apart. My mother lived only about 2.5 miles away, so close, and yet it felt like a distance I could never cross. She never came, never visited, never asked, never helped. Not once, not for a few days, but for a long, long time. And I kept asking myself, how can a mother live so close to her daughter and never once come to the door? There were days when I was so exhausted, I could barely stand. My baby cried, and I wanted to cry too, but I didn't have time to cry because I had to keep going. Sometimes my neighbors would see me alone with my baby. They would ask, "Doesn't your mother-in-law come to help?" I would just smile, a small smile, a forced one, and shake my head. But right after that, my tears would quietly rise. I didn't know what to say. If I said I was fine, it wasn't true. If I said I wasn't fine, I didn't even know where to begin. So I stayed silent. Silence slowly became a habit, day after day. I stopped talking about it. I stopped explaining. I stopped hoping anyone would understand. And then came the nights when I sat alone in the dark. The room was so quiet, I could hear my own breathing. My baby slept during the day and stayed awake at night, and I couldn't sleep at all. My body became weaker. My mind became chaotic. It felt like I was slowly sinking into something very deep with no way back. And the scariest part was, I started getting used to it. Used to loneliness. Used to not being helped. Used to carrying everything alone. Sometimes I would ask myself, will my life always be like this? But there was no answer, only silence, and kept living like that, little by little, day by day, until I no longer realized how exhausted I had become. And then, one day, I still remember very clearly, a day I thought maybe things would feel a little lighter, because that day, my husband came home. I had waited for that day for so long, not for anything big, just to have someone beside me, someone to hold the baby for a while, someone to ask if I was okay, someone so I could finally breathe for a moment. When he walked into the house, I thought I would feel relief, but I didn't. He smiled at the baby, held him for a few seconds, said a few familiar words, and then he passed by me as if I was still okay. He changed his clothes, sat down, picked up his phone, and sometimes he asked very casually, "What did you cook today? Did you eat yet?" Those questions sounded so normal, but to me, they felt painfully distant. Because what I needed was not food, not routine questions. What I needed was someone to see how exhausted I was. One time, I really needed to go to the bathroom. Just something so normal. But my baby was crying. I couldn't put him down. There was no one to help. I stood there, feeling trapped inside my own body. I said softly, "Can you hold the baby for a moment?" He didn't respond immediately. Or if he did, it was very slow. What changed my life was not a big moment, not a powerful decision, not a dramatic awakening. It was something very small, so small that if you are not paying attention, you might completely miss it. After that day, I began to notice myself a little more. Not in a perfect way, just pausing for a few seconds before continuing to suffer. One morning, while my baby was still sleeping, I stood in the kitchen, just like every other day. But instead of rushing into everything, I just stood there. And I realized something. I had not been breathing properly for a very long time. I took a deep breath, and slowly, I exhaled, slower than usual. It sounds simple, but in that moment, it felt like I had finally touched a part of myself I had forgotten existed. That day, I didn't do anything big. I just drank a cup of water while it was still warm. I ate a meal without rushing, without worry. I sat down for a moment without feeling guilty. Very small things. So small that no one would notice. But I did. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't just existing through the day. I started being present in it. One afternoon, I stood in front of the mirror again. Still the same woman, still messy hair, still dark circles under my eyes. But this time, I didn't look at myself like a stranger. I looked longer, without judgment, without avoiding, just looking. And I realized something. This woman had tried so hard, tried to be strong, tried not to fall apart, tried not to need anyone, but she had never once been allowed to rest. That night, I did something different. When my baby fell asleep, I didn't just sit and wait like before. I placed my hand on my chest and I listened. My heartbeat, my breathing, my exhaustion, the silence around me. And for the first time, I stopped running away from it. I whispered inside my mind, "It's okay. I'm still here." Not "I'm okay," not "everything will be okay." Just, "I'm still here." And that sentence, so small, almost nothing, became the first thing that pulled me back to myself. From that day, I started changing very slowly. No one noticed at first. No miracle, no dramatic transformation. Just, I started choosing myself a little more. Every day, just a little. A little rest, a little more gentle meals, a little care for my body, a little smile for my baby, even when I was tired. And strangely, my baby also began to change in a very soft way, smiling more, responding more, becoming closer. I don't know if it was a coincidence or if it was because I finally softened inside, but I understood something very clearly. Healing does not begin when everything becomes better. It begins when you stop abandoning yourself. And that was the first step when I started returning to my own life. And maybe you are still here listening, carrying things you have never said out loud, still tired, still confused, still feeling like you are falling behind life. But if you are still here in this moment, I just want you to know something very small. You don't have to fix your entire life right now. You don't have to become strong tomorrow. You only need to stop abandoning yourself again. If today you only manage to breathe a little slower, if today you only manage to eat a little better, if today you only manage to be a little kinder to yourself, that is already enough. Healing is not becoming someone else. It is slowly returning closer to who you truly are. And if you feel very alone right now, please remember this. Somewhere, someone has also sat in darkness like you, not knowing what tomorrow would bring, thinking they could not continue anymore. But then, through very small things, they kept going. And that person is not very different from you. If today you are not okay, it's okay. As long as you are still here, still breathing, still not giving up on yourself, then you are still moving in the right direction. Thank you for staying until the end of this video. And if you ever need, you can come back here anytime. I will still be here. Someone who was once like you.